Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radical Reality Productions. I'm your host, Jay Milligan, alongside our exit specialist, Julia Rowe. And today we have our fourth boot, Alex Marklis. Alex, how have you been?
I have been lovely. Jay knew I was going to do that. No, it's been a good time. I've had a nice time to reflect on the game. And yeah, excited to talk about it.
Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Julia with her questions.
Sorry, technology aneurysm. As you can tell. Okay, hi folks. Sorry about that. We are okay. So hi, Alex.
Hello, Julia.
Nice to talk to you again for the second time ever.
I know.
So just the question I always like to start off with is walk me through it. Where do you think it all went wrong for you?
Mm-hmm. So in the round before I got out, I attempted to make a tentative group of 4 between me, John, Elijah, and oh my God, I'm blanking right now. Was it Ian? No, it wasn't Ian. A group of 4 so that we'd have a majority going in. Oh, and Bo. That's oh my gosh. And then going around, I heard Carrie throw out Bo's name. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's get all 4 of us to vote on Carrie. That didn't work because they wanted to vote for Bo, but I was not brought in the loop about that. So I ended up voting for Carrie. And then the next round, Carrie was like, hey, do you know who voted for me? And then for some reason, I just lied and was like, I don't know. Which was a really bad move on my part because from how the episode looked, it seemed as if I had just told her that I voted for her because I thought that's what the way the vote was going. Then Elijah probably would have gone. It was a mess, but yeah, it was right there when I told Carrie I didn't vote for her when I very clearly did, since she knew everyone else did not. So
Why did you in fact tell her you didn't vote her?
it was because I was really nervous after the vote where Bo got out, because I felt like at that point everyone but Carrie had to know that I voted for Carrie. So I was putting all of my effort into that immunity challenge, and then I didn't win that. But then right after I didn't win that, I thought to myself, oh, now I have to actually strategize. And I didn't really think about doing that before or during the challenge. If I had more time to think about it, I probably would have been like, okay, this might not be too bad if I'm just straight up with her, but didn't take the time to do that.
Yeah, obviously you didn't win the immunity challenge, but you did come close. How do you think the round would have fared if you, in fact, did have the immunity? Who do you think the vote would have shifted on to? Any ideas about that?
If I had won, then it like 90% would have been Elijah. I probably wouldn't have known that right away. Someone probably would have told me, but it seemed like it seemed like last round, like the round before, it was between me and Bo, and then when it was Bo, it still could have been me the next round, but then they were considering flipping on Elijah. So if I had won, then Elijah probably would have gone.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask you to take them back a little bit further. So how do you think that the game would have fared if we hadn't done a swap, or in fact you got swapped onto the different tribe? Do you think you would have done better? How did you feel about your positioning either way? Do you think you could have maybe stayed in, or you were damned no matter where you were?
I think I think I didn't realize how many people knew each other going in, and I knew nobody going in, so I was a little screwed from the beginning. But at the same time, our first tribe seemed to be a pretty good group. So maybe if we didn't merge, we could have still like kept winning challenges, or even if we didn't, then I feel like there would have been some way I could have talked to people better and gave myself a better position that way.
Awesome. And what do you think you could have done differently to stay in? Do you think maybe throwing a different name would have benefited you better? Maybe not doing something or anything like that? Just what would you do differently if you could go back?
Well, so if I knew how Carrie plays, I probably wouldn't have tried so hard to get her out, and maybe have gone for a weaker target, especially in that round, because I sort of figured that the merge was coming up after the double. So if I had gotten to that point, then there might have been a better chance for me to like have more one-on-ones with people and actually start making the connections. So if I just needed one more person to get out, I probably should have gone for someone that wouldn't have played as aggressively if I had thrown their name out. Again, Elijah probably would have been that name. Yeah.
Awesome. And I know that you're pretty new to the org scene. And I know like this was really like your first mini experience and like survivor experience. So now that you have both of those under your belt, is there anything you can take from this game, whether it be survivor wise or mini wise, that you might want to apply to your next run through of a game? I'm just curious.
Right. So since then I have so you're right. This was my first survivor org and my first mini org. But since then I have played one full survivor org and one mini and have done significantly better in those than I did this time. So I definitely have more experience on how both survivor orgs work and how minis work. In general, I think minis are a lot more about not necessarily making one-on-one connections and more just being in the right room at the right time, which was something I didn't really realize at the time. And then there's a different way to play survivor orgs than Big Brother orgs, which was the only thing I had played before. But before I played this mini, it's definitely a lot. I wish I knew then that I know now, but what can you do?
Awesome. So I'm actually going to throw it over to Jay, who has some questions from the viewers from the Facebook group. So Jay, take it away.
Yes, we do have from our viewers. First up is from your tribe mate, Ian Moorhead. You kind of touched upon this, but I want to just make sure, like, kind of like you a little bit. It said, who would you have targeted? Who would you have wanted to target if you won immunity? Let's assume that you didn't know Elijah was like a target. What? Like, who would you? Let's say if you won the immunity challenge, that immunity, right? The wall sit. Who would you have targeted? Let's assume that you don't know Elijah's like on the outs. Like in that moment, if you had immunity around your neck, you knew you weren't going anywhere. Who would you have targeted?
Probably Kyle, since he was away from the tribe the last round. That probably would have just been an easy vote out, because maybe I'm sure someone would have told him eventually, and someone did tell him, but at first he wouldn't have known that I also would have been on the outs. So like a way to get him would be to like tell the people, hey, he doesn't know anything. Like, he's not gonna be helpful. Let's get him out. Something like that.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's definitely changed a lot there. If you had immunity, you definitely could have done a lot more. Alex, this is from Carrie. She wants to know, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite superhero?
Fun fact: I'm not the biggest fan of like superheroes and superhero movies. I've only seen.
Thank you.
There you go. I've only seen 3 Marvel movies, and though I didn't not like any of them, I just don't have like the inkling to watch everything else. That being said, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, they're perfect. I can't change anything about them. So Spider-Man, specifically Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Right, and fair enough. Let's see, and we have a question from Bill. Alex, sorry I never got to meet you. Did you realize how at the time how at the time how difficult of a target carry would be. I think you kind of answered that, so we'll go over that. Was there anyone else you thought might have gotten some more traction as a vote? I think you basically touched on part of that. You think it's Elijah, right? More so than watching it back.
Yeah, I think it would be Elijah. I'm trying to weigh everyone else in the group right now. I know I said at one point in one of the episodes that what was it? Gabby had to give a clue to someone, and I figured, was it Gabby that had to give a clue?
Yes, it was Gabby.
Okay, yeah, that. So Gabby had to give a clue to someone, and I was figuring the clue would probably go to someone on her original tribe, and the only two people from this tribe it could have gone to was me or John. I didn't get it, so John got it. So I probably wouldn't have targeted him because I figured like he has something that could have saved him and it backfired against me. Ian seemed to be in a pretty good place, so I wasn't really going for that. Yeah, either Kyle or Elijah. Unless we're talking about the round before, then yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, you did predict it correctly because John did get it. But
yeah.
Moving on to the next question, without going in details about why, because that'll lead to our last question we always like to ask. Did you ever consider, from Jay Stahl, did you ever consider playing your shot in the dark?
Yeah, I did. It ran through my mind a couple of times, but for reasons I'll go into later, I ended up not doing that.
Yeah, and big fan of our channel, the queen, Denny Prava. Alex, I feel like you didn't trust your gut, and I'm not and in not doing so, you led to this slaughter. Any regrets about your gameplay?
Dang.
She does not hold back.
I have a ton of regrets about my gameplay. Is this where I touch on the shot in the dark thing?
After Julia's question, or Julia asked at the end.
Okay. Well, besides not playing that, which we'll get into that, yeah, I have regrets, mostly just targeting carry right out the bat. I should say, I think I realized that she was at the very least like good at these games. But it was, again, it was my first mini, the first time playing this like really fast paced kind of game. I think in my mind, I was kind of going like, okay, let me throw a name out there and hopefully it works, especially since I thought I had the group before, but I didn't, but oh well.
Yeah, no, definitely how it works. It's the way it goes. With that, I'm going to turn back over to Julia for her to ask her last question for you.
Yeah, so as Joe was asking about earlier, you obviously didn't use your shot in the dark. We just want to know like what went into that decision. Obviously, you were the only other person who voted in the minority of the round before. I just want to know what went into your decision.
Yeah. So me and Jay talked about this a little bit a couple days after the season, and he was like, yeah, you could have used it maybe if it was safe, since merge was coming up, you could have like formed more bonds with people. My thought process was that if I ended up using it and it was safe and I had all these votes going against me that would have canceled out, then I still would have had 5 people that would have been trying to get me out, or at the very least worried that I would retaliate and try to get them out, so they'd try to get me out first. So my thought was, even if I do take a shot in the dark and it wins, I probably won't last that long. Let me just try this as like a last ditch effort, and if it works, then I'll at least have people on my side and I'll be in a better position than if I did use a shot in the dark. I think that made sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have and the questions from the viewers. So, Alex, thank you so much.
Of course.
Being with us today. To throw it back over to Jay just for some housekeeping, but thanks again.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Obviously, don't know our random numbers calling from 800 number, but I'm going to ignore that anyway. And thank you everyone for tuning in all season long. We are getting near the end game here. We have 10 people left. You might want to stay tuned. It's definitely worth it. We are doing Gabby right after this, so she is our 5th boot spoiler. But if you have if you're watching this before you watch the episode, you should know. But anyway, we're doing Gabby right now, and we are excited to be back. I'm going to get Marvin to do a recap. He is being Marvin, and there's a lot going on. Just we have busy lives. We're all playing orgs right now, so just bear with us. But anyway, this has been Alex's exit interview. We have our exit queen, Julia Rowe, and I'm your host, Jay Milligan. We'll see you guys soon. Good night.